what's going on? James King Baskin here, and I am live and here with my good friend, long-term friend, acquaintance in business world for a couple of years. We were just talking beforehand, and my friend Preston. Now, without further ado, Preston, who are you and what do you do?
What up, what up? Yeah, so pleasure to be on here. Thank you again, James. So what I do is build sales systems for the mortgage industry and for insurance industry. So we work directly with, boutique lenders. We do branch-wide solutions, individual LOs, all kinds of stuff like that. And the same for insurance. We do a lot of, work with agency owners and stuff like that, primarily in the independent world, but we definitely work with a lot of captives too in the PNC side.
Cool, man. And what's the name of your company?
We are Good Vibe Squad. Feel good marketing.
I love it, man. What's the story behind that name, man? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah. So, I drew a line in the sand, bro, a few years ago when I decided if I was going to stay doing business, right, and I was going to, because I broke off from a franchise back when I was strictly doing insurance. I was doing a lot of marketing for myself. This is years ago. But I wanted to go independent. I wanted to create my own brokerage. And I was like, you know what, if I'm going to live life like this, I'm going to live on my terms. And so every brand from that point I created was with the intent of like, what do I want to have? I want to have fun. I want to have good, good vibes is one of the things I want to have. Right. And so really I looked around the market and I saw everything is a machine or on demand or, some sort of word that's geared around the industry, but it's like, I don't know, it just felt really cliche and it felt like very inauthentic. And so I was like, dude, okay, everybody's zigging. I want to zag. People can laugh at it. People can say whatever they want. But at the end of the day, what do I want to have my clients have, right? Obviously, I want them to have revenue. I want them to have, increase in profit across the board of just a better experience. But at the end of the day, I want them to have I want it to be good vibes. Like I want them to have a better life. And so that we just kind of wrapped around that. And so we were like, well, we're the Good Vibe Squad. And so that is the history on how that came to be, bro. And so we just build around it. The thing I love about it too, and this is why I like doing playful names, it's an immediate market separator. Sometimes there'll be people that are like, oh, I would never work with Good Vibe Squad. And it's perfect. I wouldn't work with you. That got handled real quick, So it's great, man. Honestly, and the cool thing about it is our clients right now are crushing it, and they're just genuinely good-hearted people. So it's like the branding helped us click and connect with the types of people we wanted to find anyway, bro. So it was a really good organic strategy in hindsight, but at the front of it, we just want to communicate what's the end result we want to give you, good vibes.
Absolutely. And before I forget, what's the best way for anyone to get in touch with you?
Yeah. So people can find me on Facebook. I love to, just have conversations, just person to person, facebook.com/Preston Loves Marketing. You can also go to goodvibesquad.com if you would like. That's GOODVIBESQUAD.com. But I mean, Facebook's the easiest because as a marketer, I'm kind of ball and chain to the platform anyways,
Yep. And we were kind of talking a little bit about this and I know I said we were going to talk about the event you just had, but before we get into it, I mean, everyone always loves the top of the mountain story. I feel like every conference I go to, whether it's Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, it's like you always hear this, oh, I'm living life. And you never hear the valleys enough. And I feel like a lot of people relate to the valleys so much because we've all been there. I'm not going to, fill it in, but I know parts of your story in the beginning. It was pretty rough, for you.
It was all valley, bro. All valley. I built a homestead in that valley.
Yeah, dude. Can we talk about that just for a couple minutes of I remember you and your partner, your wife. I mean, the real valley, man. What was that like for you?
Well, so that was back. This was back when we were, struggling to really figure it out. Because remember I said a few years ago now, we were transitioning from being part of a franchise, right? I was part of a captive insurance company and I wanted to go independent, start a brokerage. And I'd been doing marketing this whole time. Well, at that time, I didn't, my former franchisor if you will, they essentially stuck my contract to me and made it so I couldn't really sell insurance or do anything in the industry for like, it was supposed to be like, I think it was supposed to be like 60 or 90 days. They ended up carrying it out for like half of a year. And I mean, you know, when you have attorneys like that, you can do whatever you want.
Damn.
So I don't blame them. It's a good business move, right? But you know, at the time, I was like, well, shit, how am I going to feed my family? So we were going to the plasma center twice a week to get enough money, because I think we were getting about 60, 70 bucks a week for every 2 liters of blood we would sell. So her and I would go together. It was like date night at the plasma center. And we would do that, sell blood, and then use that to get gas money to go to the food bank to get food to feed the kid. And so that was an interesting story, just an interesting experience. Really, it was humbling, and I'm glad it happened because it helped me sharpen my teeth, you know. But yeah, bro, there was that. And then after a certain point, we came home one day from the food bank, and there was a blue door hanger on our door from the power company, and it was like, hey, you got 48 hours to give us $650 or we're shutting this off. So you know, I was like, what do I do? You know, like this is, you know, and it's a really hard moment because it's like, you know, you feel like you failed. You feel like you failed your lady, your child, your dreams, your aspirations, your hopes. Like it just, I felt like a massive failure. And so we just sat down that night and I was like, what do I do? Where do we go? What, you know, I can't sell what I'm here to sell. And so, you know, I was like, well, I was doing a ton of marketing for myself, but I'm legally, I can't right now. So I was like, fuck it. Let's just offer marketing for other people. And so I had some funnels for real estate and, you know, I had some good campaigns, some solid campaigns there. And so I went on at the time, it was D7 Lead Finder. I scraped together like 4,800 real estate agents. I built a cold email campaign with a lander. You know, it's funny. I still think, and this is years ago, and I've learned a ton since then, but I still think that was one of my best landers. It was so simple, but it got what I needed. And I'm probably romanticizing it because it's like, it's one of those pivotal moments in life, but like that lander got me what I needed. And so what I did is I created a cold email campaign with like 3 or 4 emails, and I just blasted these 4,800 realtors. A lot of fuck yous, a lot of fuck offs, a lot of, you know, unsubscribes, take me off your list. You know, you got to be willing to hear all that. But it was really cool, dude. There was one guy, Joseph B. That's what I'll call him for the sake of this. Joseph B. And I got mad love for this dude. I hope he's doing incredibly well. He came through, and I was offering essentially a monthly managed service for $750 a month plus ad spend. I'd do everything, build out everything for you. And, you know, which those are like white label prices, you know, like that was stupid cheap, but I had to, you know, it was one of those things. And so Joseph B paid me $750, 2 hours before the power company was going to turn the lights off, bro, which, wow. You know, then the fridge goes out, then the food spoils, and now you're fucked. Right. So it was like 2 hours before, bro. I paid the power off. I filled the gas tank. I put a little bit of food in the fridge, bro. And that was something clicked right there. I was like, I'm never going back. And so that was where I was hell bent on, this was one of the ways I was going to live. And, you know, I'm still in the insurance industry, but I have staff now to sell and service. I love doing the marketing and all that, but dude, my heart is in marketing through and through. That moment changed my life. And you know, I'd never gone back.
That's wild. I'm actually taking a note because that's probably part of that is going to go into the headline of this. 2 hours before the power goes off, gets a deal. And
I'll never forget that, bro. That was one of those moments where you remember everything in the room, you know?
It's crazy, man. Like, I don't have any kind of moments like that. I'm not going to try to, like, you know, sell my story like it's like that intense, but like I remember your parts of your story like that. When I never heard that story with the power going off. I heard the story about the donating plasma, right, or blood.
It was plasma. No, they throw the red and white blood cells back in. They just take the plasma.
Have you gone back since then?
Fuck no.
Hey, you remember?
The only reason I go back is to throw rocks through the window. I'm done with that time in my life, dude.
You need a Facebook advertiser? No. Oh man, that's dude. Like, oh man, what? It's crazy, man. I could get stuck in this moment because whenever I hear like stuff like that, it's like you have 1 or 2 options. Like, and the easy option is to quit.
Yeah, curl up and go fetal.
Yeah, just stop. You know what I mean? It's like you failed. you lost. Just admit defeat. And dude, you probably, I'm taking this with a grain of salt. You probably had people in your ear telling you to quit. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, dude. I mean, so I'm kind of one of those people that probably statistically should have died early, like just due to natural selection. Like I'm a risk taker. That's how I've always been, you know, like I drive fast. I mean, I don't right now because I have a PT Cruiser, but you know, it's like I used to street race, been arrested multiple times for it. Like I love going fast. I love the adrenaline. I drink 2 pots of coffee and a Red Bull at minimum a day. Like I have to be go, right? You know that about me. And
Yeah.
so you know, when it comes to those moments, I just go, fuck it. I'm going to die here or I'm going to settle. And I'd rather die. You know, it's like, but those are my options. I might as well just fucking go because I'm going to die one way or I'm going to die the other. At least I'm dying on my terms, you know? So, yeah, that was beneficial. I mean, and you know, you came into the picture actually, on the tail end of that. Cause you know, there was you and I had started talking right around the time I took that first Philly trip. And, that was paid for, you know, that was sponsored by the Plasma Center. So that was kind of an interesting experience as well. You know, I mean, that was another one of those situations, where it was like, fuck it, I have to go, you know, like we were driving out to Montana and, you know, just to catch up on the convo we had before this call, we were driving out to Montana back then. And I checked my account when we got to about Ellensburg, right? So I'm in Tacoma. We were going to middle Montana, a small town called Whitehall. And so I checked my account near Ellensburg because after that reception spotty for about 8 hours. So I mean, it's hit or miss. You're back in the 3G days. And so I checked the account and we had like $500 in the account and the round trip ticket to Philly was like $470. So it's like, okay, I got this. That's fine. I got this. So I'll do it later because reception was starting to get spotty. By the time I touched down in Montana, ticket price was like, I don't know, it was like 800 round trip. Like it had gone up like $300. I was like, fuck, you know, like I can't, you know, I'm mentally committed. I've already told my lady I'm going. I'm already going mentally. And so I just did a Hail Mary on it and I bought a one-way ticket. So I was like, you know, I have to go to this mastermind. I have to meet these people. I have to do this. And so what ended up happening was I bought the ticket. So I fly out to Philly. I touch down, but on my flight to Philly from Tacoma, my Infusionsoft charge came out, which was $273. I remember it very vividly. So I'm negative $240 about at this time. And, I'm lost. I'm stuck at an airport. I don't know at this time. I don't know anybody in the city and I can't get an Uber to go where I need to go. I can't even afford a meal. I was incredibly lost. You know, that's why I'm very grateful. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons just for the sheer friendship that we've developed over the years, but very grateful for Bobby in that because he sent an Uber. Then we went out to a bomb ass Italian restaurant, him, Rachel and I. And, you know, I crashed at his house during the mastermind, which was incredible, you know, because at that time it felt like he was a few years ahead of me on the journey, but I've always felt very connected to him as a human being. Like I feel very, I feel like we could be brothers in another life. And so, you know, there was an element where I was like, dude, I want to watch the way you drink coffee. I want to watch the way you pee. Dude, I need to watch the way you live because you got something about it that I need to, you know. And so, you know, there was actually a point where like I felt kind of bad. You know, we laugh about it now, but when I was hanging out at his house after the mastermind, I saw him kind of like, he was like hunched over a paper doing this thing. I'm like, what's he doing, man? What's he got there? And so I'm like trying to look over his shoulder and he like looks up at me. He's like, bro, it's a medical form. And I was like, oh, my bad. So like, yeah, but you know, he was very gracious about that experience. And I'll never forget that because it was one of those life-changing moments. And, you know, we were still negative in the account at the time, but, you know, I had mentally committed. I was like, I'm not leaving until I get a client. So, I ended up connecting with, some people that Bobby was connected with, and they were asking about, you know, a lead provider. And so I was like, yeah, I'll help you out. And so, essentially I stayed in Philly for just shy of a week. It was just until I was like, I'm not leaving until I can afford, I need to buy my ticket home. Right. Like, so I just kept grinding, dude. It was long days. And, It was great, man. It was one of the best experiences of my life. It was one of those things where it's like, you know, you just got to burn your boats at the shore and go forward. And that's really been the last few years, man. It's been incredible.
Little Tony Robbins, burning your boats. Yeah. And shout out to Bobby Stocks. It's
the homie.
Shout out to that guy, man. Like, that guy really helped me also. It's crazy, man. Like, I can't have this kind of conversation with everyone because I'm like 100% in that moment right now with you, because I was like I was in a mindset. I'm in a total different mindset from then where I am now. And I assume the same thing for you also. And back in the day, and if Bobby ever sees this, if he does, great, awesome, you know, and I'll send this to him. I almost like needed permission to like go out and be the person like I was, like almost like I needed approval. I used to like message Bobby and be like remember the first month that I hit, like, I think it was, I made $12,000 in 1 month off doing insurance. And I was like, dude, just made $12,000 off these Facebook leads you sent me. And it was also, you know, referrals, but all in all, I combined it all with Facebook, you know, social media stuff. And I was like, dude, I'm afraid to post it. And I like needed his permission, approval, and guidance just for me to post on my own wall, because that's how like high up I had put him on the social status. And he would bring it back to that human element and be like, bro, you fucking did this. Go post it, man. You earned this. You deserve it. And
is that about 2 years ago?
About a year and a half ago, maybe.
A year and a half. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Maybe a little less. Probably a little less, actually. And honestly, it 4,000 of that fell on my lap from follow up. You know, that's in that kind of, you know,
100%.
I'm not going to talk too much about my business, but just to, you know, drop for a second. But like, I had people follow up with a guy, another company, another service, and they followed up with a guy, and they happened to call the guy that fills out insurance stuff every freaking week. And we just happened to be the people that called. And he was
I love those people.
Oh, dude, he's like, I'm canceling 6 policies. Can you help me? And I'm like, yep. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have got that guy. And
that's so awesome.
So I owe a big thank you to Bobby. Whenever I hear like something like that, like one of those moments, like make or break, like, so just a little.
Yeah, I just got a notification actually from Facebook. It's today's a year ago from when I bought my first tickets to Puerto Rico too. Like back for last July. So that was an incredible experience too. You know, it's really cool, man. Just to observe, man. I remember it's about 2 years ago, you know, you and I were discussing how to hire a VA, where to go for him. And it's really cool to see it's really cool to see that you took that information, bro, and you built
I owe you a thank you, man. I owe you a thank you. I remember the first guy I ever interviewed, and I think, like, isn't it crazy how, like, whenever I sit up in my chair, anyone that watches it, whenever I sit up in my chair, I'm either nervous or super interested in what you're saying. So I gotta throw them off. Like, I'm either fearful or I'm like super excited. So you never know.
I love it.
But when I first like had a call, I think it might have been our first call or maybe second one, whatever. But first, like, actual like FaceTime video, and like you were trying to help me and like outsource, and I'm like, I was petrified, dude. I was like so scared and didn't know what I was doing. I'm like on Upwork, all these other websites, and I'm like, don't know what I'm doing. And I had my first interview with a guy, and he had all these cats, and all these cats were like climbing over him. Oh, dude, it was like the biggest, like, and I'm like, dude, you can't have cats on the phone. And I was like so afraid to like what to say or what to do. And I'm like, no cats. And he was like, sir, it's neighbor cat. And I'm like, no cats. And I called you up, and I'm like, dude, man, this guy's got a freaking bunch of cats, and they're climbing over him, and they're next door, and they're meowing. And I just was like,
that's so funny.
You know how it is, man. Like, you have to like maybe you've gotten that mode where you like a mentor, you have to update them of every little thing. I'm like,
100%.
The cats are at it again. What should I do? And if you don't respond, next thing you know, it's like, Preston's not responding. What the frick, man? Like temper tantrum, like Rugrats moment.
Dude, it's so cool though to see you take that those few nuggets of advice on those calls that we had and build a whole, like, you've built an empire on that, man. That's incredible, man. It's just your growth pattern has been massive.
Yep. And I definitely owe you a thank you. I was not even thinking about that when we had this call, and I 100% know that you were like one of those early on, like, dude, that probably like implanted a seed somewhere that's now sprouted up to like whatever level it is now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say that I'm like a, thank you for the giant part or whatever, like different level. I mean, I would say I'm just like a little sapling, little, a little bit further along than a seed now.
Well, keep that humility, bro, because if what you are now is a little sapling, as you would call it, bro, then you're gonna be a redwood. So keep up your growth, homie.
Appreciate that. And what has the growth been like for you, man? I want to hear about your growth.
Jesus. It's been, dude, I mean, it's like, it's like apples and airplanes. Like, it's not even like comparing food to food anymore. The growth has been insane. I mean, we do masterminds now. I mean, and honestly, the masterminds that the last one we threw was, in my entire time being in the insurance industry, it was the largest high ticket mastermind in the insurance vertical that I've ever witnessed in my life, that was such an incredible experience. We have courses, we have done for you services. We have a team of almost 10 people. Dude, I mean, I wake up every day just like passionate as fuck. And it's just, so, I mean, it's like, how do you measure growth? Right. And so the way I look at it is like, well, I'm far away from where we were 2 years ago from the struggle bus, and I don't know about you, but I always have this impending sense of like, there's doom behind me. Like, I have to keep moving forward because it's like, I'm scared. There's a part of me that's always fearful of like, it's going to end. I wasn't really raised on how to have money. And so there's a lot of fear there for me. And so, I have I guess you could call him a life coach, a therapist that helps me out with a lot of that on a weekly basis. But, I mean, from that perspective, bro, I mean, we rose from what we were struggling with years ago. We've helped hundreds, almost 1,000 people at this point between both verticals. I wrote a book. I got to share a stage with Gary Vaynerchuk, which this is a little fact about that a lot of people don't know, because some people love Gary, some people hate Gary, whatever, right? And I don't really care either way. But one of the things that was actually really pivotal to me, I'll show you here. So you might know this book, right? Yep. Crushing It by Gary V. This was the book that I was reading over and over while we were in the plasma center. Because I'm there for an hour and a half. So I'm reading Crushing It over and over and over. And 2 years later, to share a stage with the dude who I was reading his book of while I was selling blood, for me, that was just like a closed loop. Like, it was like, so when you ask about, how we're doing, I'd say, in my opinion, we've won. In a lot of ways, right? I mean, it's an uphill battle. It never stops. But just to be able to do what we've done, to be able to experience what we've experienced, 2018, traveled to 20 different places, hosted masterminds, eaten incredible foods, met amazing people. I'm a very experiential person, right? So it's like, I don't measure success monetarily, and that's nice, but it's like, are we eating well? Are we laughing? Are we making an impact in people's lives? And are we seeing the world? If we're doing all of those, then as far as I'm concerned, damn it, we're successful. Yeah. And so by those metrics, I think we're doing pretty good, man. It's been incredible. And, there's obviously a lot with the courses and the done for you services. Our goal is just to continue to roll out the impact. And even for the people that might not be able to afford that, that's one of the reasons I put If I Were You together, the book, because I just wanted to be able to make an impact for somebody, even if they only have $8 to spend. And to be honest with you, if somebody doesn't even have $8, if they just sent me a message, I'd send them a book, just because it's like, shit, it's like, those are the moments you get to make an impact. And so it's not just about money, it's like, and so being able to make an impact from pretty much $0 all the way up to thousands of dollars and anywhere in between, it's a good life, man. We're like, I don't know, man. It's hard to even compare, because we're actually we're changing lives on a daily basis. And that gets me going.
And can we special offer? I'm going to ask Preston's permission on the fly. I am going to link your book in this YouTube clip. And can we have some kind of special offer if anyone that watches this, if they just reference YouTube interview with Outsource Kings, would you be okay with sending them a book if they reference this?
Yeah, I mean, I actually have it set up right now. If you want to, I can give you the link. I'll give them the book for free if they just cover the shipping.
Cool. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. And then
I'd be happy to do that for you, man.
And then we'll also have the link for you to purchase it. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But I'm also a firm believer if you put money behind something, it also, adds more value as well.
For sure.
And closing in on the last 10 minutes here, and I want to bring up two specific questions.
Yeah,
And
go for it.
the first one is actually going through my question thing. And the first one, it's definitely one that I like to ask people that have families, and I like to tie in that family aspect because it's so easy for us to be like, look at me, walking
Right.
around, and that ties into this. How has your family been there, and what has success allowed you to provide them?
So that's been a struggle in a lot of ways, and when we were in Puerto Rico last, we try to be very vulnerable together. That's one of the things I love about our friendships is we're very, very close on a deep level. Oftentimes, bro, I feel like I'm waking up every day staring into a burning hill in front of me, and I have a bucket of water. Despite, and so that's one of those things. It's like, no matter how successful I become, I can't outrun my ghost there. And so that's the struggle for me. I never feel, if I'm just being blunt with you, I never feel like I'm being the man I need to be for both my kid and for my lady. And I don't know that I ever will. It's like money hasn't solved that. And granted, I'm not bad. I'm not, abusive or any of that. I'm not, obviously, but
Sure.
it's like, it's one of those things where it's like we work a lot. And so, there's always that thing in the back of my mind. I'm helping everybody else with their own time, being more efficient with their life. And then I'm working 18-hour days. And so there's, I don't even want to be the martyr, it's just like, but there's a sense of like, I'm at a point in life where I also need to infuse balance because the impact comes at a cost, and we've been the one picking up the tab. So they've been very supportive. I would say overly supportive. And it's, one of my biggest focuses in life is really emphasizing how I can give back to them and be there for them. And from everything I've gathered, that's time, better communication and time. And so, yeah, I mean that family's everything. People, if it's healthy, if it's not, then I'm not one of those people that's like, well, you make it work. It's like, no, if people are toxic, people are toxic, right? So get away from all toxic people, including but not limited to family. But it's like, if you have people that are supporting you and they're there for you, it's like, it's one of those things where, and they're good people, you got to put that in, you got to prioritize it. And I don't feel like I've done the best job at that. So, they've been incredible, and I hope that stays that way. And my goal is to obviously be able to give that back. Because money's nice and it's great, but it's like, I can't go to my son and be like, look at the impact I've made, because that's just time away from him, and so it's a balance, man. And so that's really what we're working on, is better communication, a lot of that from my end, better time management, and just more family time. I think is really the critical component now.
Absolutely. And I think we definitely covered like the valley moments, and I definitely want to just real quick with bringing us home, so to speak. You just had your own conference, in your own words, super high ticket event. Tell me what, like, not so much like I could ask you a million questions of like what happened there, but
Sure.
just tell me the mindset you had, because that a lot of our stuff is mindset. Just the mindset you had
Right.
in the moment, being on stage. Because I'm sure you presented. Like, what was that feeling like?
I love presenting. I love helping people. It was a really beautiful blend, because it was me with my business partner McBilly, and one of my best friends in the space, a good friend of ours, Nicholas Ayers as well. I did a lot of the sales psychology and the marketing psychology, which was amazing. McBilly broke down a ton of incredible funnel strategies, campaign strategies, and Facebook. Nick broke down a bunch of YouTube and Google stuff. I mean, literally, dude, the crowd was stunned by the amount of value that we did. And obviously you have to bring a lot of value when you have an event that high ticket, but we sold the event out, which was an awesome experience. And we just essentially at that point we closed the doors and we just went fucking ham. I mean, we were going from 8 a.m. Every day of the event till probably about 10 p.m. every night. And then we'd go back and work on the event to make sure that the next day was better. Right. And so it's kind of like that whole flow. So over the 4 days, it was very, very potent, very powerful. And I really like those. It's something that I can't do forever because, by the end of that, bro, I was burnt out. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, while the courses are awesome and I love doing our courses, and while the done for you services are awesome and I love doing the done for you, there's a certain intimacy and a vulnerability that you get to build with a small group of people when you have a mastermind like that. And one of the goals that we had was we didn't want the storyteller's experience, which is what we called this event. And we only do events once to make sure it's exclusive, because a high ticket event should be that way, right? It's like, if you didn't attend, you don't get the workbook. If you didn't attend, you don't get the recordings. We don't resell anything. It's like, you're there or you're not,
Yeah.
And so with an event like that, man, we were able to connect with that group, and I truly believe that we made a difference. And so I'm looking forward to the next event. I'm looking forward to what we do. The lives that we impacted our courses, and for the people that just want us to do it for them, I look forward to the impact that we make in the done for you side too, man. And, just setting up those sales systems and helping good people win.
Awesome, man. And on that note, thank you again, Preston. Much appreciated. Yeah. Anyone looking to get in touch with them, feel free to hit them up on Facebook, goodvibesquadmarketing.com.
Goodvibesquad.com. And then they can also go to facebook.com/Preston Loves Marketing. And just shoot me a message, send me a friend invite. If you want to go to our website, you can book a call, whatever makes sense for you. Feel free to reach out. I'm here to help. And if they want to check out the book, it's iwereyobook.com. They can also get it on Amazon. But I'll make sure that we get you that link so that you can post that as well, so that people can get the book and not have to pay for it.
Awesome. Thank you again, my